and the captions. Okay, y'all should be able to see my screen okay. Ms. Bowen, you have a question? Ms. Bowen, you have a question? Gotta unmute your mic, Ms. Bowen. You're unmute your mic. Just click on your mic one time, and that'll unmute it up in the top right-hand corner. Okay, just type it in. Type your question in. She's got her hand up, but she can't mute her mic. Just type your question in. Okay. Well, take your hand down so I wish you'd type your question in. All right. So let's go to the spreadsheet and let's make up another. We did do mean, median, or mean, variance, and standard deviation, correct? With a frequency distribution, yes or no? Thought we did. Okay, let's do another one. I want you to be able to do at least a couple. Let me make that bigger. Make about 14. Arial. Make it a little bit bigger. And let's do borders. And let's make that me feel.
Bless you.
What?
I'm freezing.
I said bless you.
That was a cough, dude. Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate you caring. All right, so lower class limit.
You're welcome.
Upper class limit and frequency. We'll start with 15 to 19. Hold on a minute. Can't. 15. I rebooted my computer this morning, and I don't know. It's just done everything different. 19, 20, 24, 25, 29, 30 to 34, and 35 to 39. And the frequencies 1, 6, 5, 4, and 2. All right, now what I want everybody to do, I want everybody to give me the class boundary, the class width, the midpoints, and then I want you to find the mean and the standard deviation. So I'm going to give everybody 5 minutes. Right now it's 8:12. Give everybody 5 minutes to do all of that. I'll put everything over here on the side. Class width. Class boundaries. What's wrong with this thing? I think my computer's got something. Class width, class boundaries, midpoints, mean, variance, and standard deviation. So give everybody 5 minutes at 8:17. We'll see how everybody do and go through it. Now y'all should be at least be able to find the class width, class boundaries, and midpoints. Those are pretty simple. All right, it's 8:17. So that should be close to 5 minutes. So what's 20 minus 15? 25 minus 20, 29 minus 24, 34 minus 29. What's class width? 5. Class boundary? Well, is 14.5. And then I'm going to add 5, be 19.5, 24.5, and so on. 29.5, 34.5, and 39.5. Midpoints equals the first lower class limit plus the first upper class limit divided by 2, and add the class width several times, plus 5. Function F4. And that should carry over. I need to go to 35. And one more. There's the midpoints. Now those midpoints, you're going to use those. So we've got to write out our handy dandy formulas again, because I doubt very seriously y'all printed that out. But if you did, good. Just things that I send you, you should print them out. But I know some of y'all don't. So, with my pen and the mean of a frequency distribution is equal to the summation of f times x over the summation of f, or the summation of f times x over n. So let's take our handy dandy spreadsheet, and we need to find n. So n is right here. There's n. So I'll color that green. Well, it kind of helps to have things colored that you need. And we're going to need f. Now we need x. Is the midpoints. So I'm just going to grab that one. Well, I'll just recalculate it. Be easier just to recalculate. Lower class limit plus the upper class limit divided by 2. And I'm going to color those yellow because we had to calculate those. So I'm going to, the yellow stuff is stuff we had to calculate. So I need to change that up a little bit. Change this. Okay, what else we need? Let's see. Let's go back to our formula so we can see what we need. Okay, we need f times x. Let's go to the variance. Variance is equal to n times the summation of f times x squared minus the summation of f times x quantity squared over n times n minus 1. Well, let's take our handy dandy green marker and yellow marker, and we've got n, we've got x, we've got f, I'm doing this for a reason, y'all. So what's the only thing we don't have? What's the only component we don't have? That means I want somebody to say something.
Standard deviation.
No, you get the standard deviation from the variance. What variable, let me rephrase that. What variable do we not have?
X squared.
We don't have x squared, so we got to do a formula, a column called x squared. And then we'll have everything we need to do the formulas. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to put x squared. That's going to equal this number raised to the second power. And copy that down. And that's yellow also. So now we have everything we need. We have everything we need to plug in what? Plug and chug. So we need a column called f times x, and we need a column called f times x squared. F times x, f times x, f times x, and f times x squared. So f times x, take care of those, and then f times x squared. So we need two more columns. And we need f times x and f times x squared. F times x squared. So f times x is equal to this number times this number. Copy that down. And f times x squared. Copy that down. And what do we need to do to f times x and f times x squared?
Add them.
Add them up. All I'm doing is reading the formula. I know y'all don't want to hear that. Some of y'all don't want to hear that. You just want me to tell you what to do, and I'm not going to do that. You got to read the formula. So I'm going to take this guy, and I'm going to color these two orange. That's about as fluorescent orange as I can get. I will do that one. And summation. And copy that over. And there, we've done. We're fun. We got everything we need to plug and chug into the formula. I'm going to go over to my formula right now. And I'm going to plug and chug. Let's see. F times x. Summation of f times x is 486. So 486 goes right here. And 18 goes right there. So you go ahead and calculate 486 divided by 18. I'm going to go over here and put mean. And going to be equal to the summation of f times x divided by 18. And we should have the same number. Somebody give me a thumbs up on 27. All right, good job. Now let's plug and chug into the variance. So variance is equal to n, which is 18, multiplied by the summation of f times x squared minus f times x squared summation raised to the second power. And I hit the wrong button. All over n times n minus 1, and I'm just going to type in 17, And there is everything plugged in, and I'll do it here too. There's 18 times F times X squared is 13,672. Minus, hold on, minus 486 raised to the second power all over 18 times 17. All you got to do is read the formula. And that comes out to be variance is equal to, well, the 18 times 7, the big number, that's going to be a big number. It's supposed to be, because you got to have a positive, minus, and this number should be less than 246,000. This number raised to the second power, and it is less, over 18 times 17. And then the variance is going to be equal to this number minus this number divided by 306. And the variance comes out to be 9,900 divided by 306. I got 32.353. What'd y'all get? Thumbs up? Okay. All right. So far, I have a dark room and a light. I need somebody to fix that, please. That would be Martinez and Long. Thank you. I'm sorry, they're the pet peeves. I don't like ceiling fans and lights, and I don't like dark black screens. Mr. Long, is everything? There we go. Thank you. Variance is equal to, and that's that number right there. And then, of course, what's the relationship between the mean and the standard deviation? Anybody? I'm waiting for somebody to communicate. What is the relationship between the mean and the standard deviation? Square root, thank you. Or raise the variance to the 0.5 power, or 1/2 power. And there is the numbers that we want. So there's 3 test questions right there. And you got 3 test questions right here. So make sure, and you can make these things up all day long. All you got to do is have the right, you got to make sure everything's 5 apart, or you want it 6 apart, that's fine, it's up to you. But all you got to have is that right there. And you can get that out of the book anywhere and throw in 2.2. Now, I got on halfway through the class. We went over what we went over last week. and that was class width, class boundaries, midpoints, and mean, variance, standard deviation of a quantitative frequency distribution. Okay, that's 2.1, 2.2. 2.1 is finding the relative frequency. Now, we didn't do relative frequency. I can do it right quick. Relative frequency. And what is relative frequency a fancy word for? Starts with a P. 1 divided by 18. Somebody tell me what relative frequency is a fancy word for.
Percent.
Oops. Nobody's gonna tell me?
Percent.
4%. Thank you. And it should equal 1. There we go. So there's what you need to do for a qualitative. About the only thing you can do with a qualitative is the mean, I mean not the mean, the relative frequency and the, what do you call it, bar graph. Question, great, complaint. All right, I think we did one of these last week, and then you got this one. So you got 2 in your notebook to help you out on the test with. Any questions? Okay, now I'm going to skip over to chapter 3 because 2.3 is reading. You know, make sure you know if somebody's drawing something wrong. Graphics, I'm not going to go into that. Let's go to chapter 3. Now, chapter 3, the first 2 or 3 sections of chapter 3. Well, let me just explain what chapter 3 is. Chapter 3, made up of 2 components. One is tendencies of center, which is mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, variance, and standard deviation. Well, here we just did that. Yeah, we did that with a frequency distribution. Chapter 3 is based on data, like your test grades. Data, in other words, the average, or find the ages of the class, or the test grades, or, you know, find the mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, variance, standard deviation. Also, comparing apples to oranges, z-scores, and empirical rule. Now, I don't know how many of you had probability and statistics in high school, but I don't know if you even covered the empirical rule because I don't know what you cover. So some of you may not be familiar with the empirical rule. Some of you have never seen that before either. So those of you that think you wrote the book on statistics, you might be a little bit humbled because you've never seen this before. And there's going to be some things here that you haven't seen before either. So let's see what else. There's also 5-number summary. And a box plot. We're going to go over that too. We're going to go over that. It's somewhere in between this, or it's after the z-scores. I can't remember. That's why I'm writing it out to the side. That's That's either in here or it's here. I can't remember. I think this is 3.1 through 3.3. I think this is 3.4. And I think this is 3.5. If I'm wrong, these two are switched. I can't remember. And in this new book, I don't know what they've done different. Okay, so that's chapter 3. Now, the good thing is most of you know how to do most of these. Okay? And I want you to be able to do it by hand. If nothing else, I want you to be able to do it on the calculator and the spreadsheet. All right? So, any questions on where we're going? Now, notice that we are in chapter 3 now. So you better, be careful and watch your homework because we're getting close to 3.5. So that means everybody's going to be running around in circles, panicking because you didn't listen to me the first week of class. All right. So, mean. Let's go with an example. Let's say test scores 71, 75, 80, 82, and 85. You've had 5 tests this semester, and those are your test grades. So you want to be able to tell, everything about those 5 numbers. So the mean is equal to the summation of x divided by n. So you're going to add up, and y'all been doing this since what, the 6th grade? Since you figured out how to average your grade? What are you talking about, Miss Gray? You're talking 90 miles an hour. The summation of x over n, and that's your mean, median. What does median mean? When you see the word median, what do you instantly think of? And don't tell me math because you're lying. When you see the word median, what do you think of?
The middle.
Middle of the road. In the road, the median, that's what you think of. And that's middle. Calculated middle based on n. If n is odd, you just find the middle number. What if n is even? What do you do if n is even? Okay, now part of being in a virtual classroom, remember, is the professionalism, right? So that means you need to be listening to me instead of doing other things. So what is even?
You add the 2 middle numbers and divide them by 2.
Good job. Even, 2 add average, or add 2 middle numbers and divide by 2. In other words, you find the midpoint of the 2 middle numbers. Okay? That's how you find the median. Median is very important. Mean and median is very important. Mode is worthless, but they won't ask you questions about it. Somebody tell me, the mode is the one that shows up the what? One that shows up the most.
The most.
Can you have more than one mode? Yes.
The most.
Good job. So mostly all of you know how to find those. Range is pretty simple. The highest minus the what?
The lowest.
So that means that all your data must be in order before you even start this. And if you notice, I think you got your microphone to work, Miss Bowen. Good job. What was your question?
Just now unfroze. I'm so sorry about earlier.
What? What'd
It
you say?
just unfroze.
Well, at least your microphone's working.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. Mid-range. Mid-range is going to be important later on. Mid-range is going to be very important. That's equal to the highest plus the lowest divided by 2. Mid-range is another word for center. What's the difference in the mid-range center and the median center? The median is based off of the 2 middle numbers, or the middle of the middle numbers. The mid-range is based on the high and the low. So it's kind of like one's checking the other. And those are the things you're going to be learning in 3.1 and 3.2. Now, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. I'm going to do it all together. So I'm going to go ahead and jump to the variance and the standard deviation, and then we'll do it all together at one time. Because I'm like this. If you can do all of them, then you can do a single one on a test. So I like to do all of them together. So we're going to move on. And I'm going to write down variance. Let's see, we're going to do the summation of x minus x bar, quantity squared, over n minus 1. And then somebody tell me what the relationship between the variance and the standard deviation is.
Square root.
That's it. Or the variance raised to the 1/2 power, or the variance to the 0.5 power. So there is your 2 formulas for the mean and the standard, the variance and the standard deviation. I never did drink tea until I was detached with a platoon of Brits, and they told me how to make tea. I'm not a big fan of it, but I'm not a coffee drinker, so I do the best I can when my throat's hurt and I drink tea. All right. So what do you do when you have numbers? So let's take these numbers. I'm going to go to the Excel spreadsheet, and we're going to find all the numbers. You can use your calculator, and I'm going to show you. I know some of y'all can twirl around the calculator like a basketball on your finger. That's not a good thing at all. But there are some people that already, know how to do this on the calculator. But I'm going to show you how to do it by hand, and then I'll show you how to do it on the calculator. So here we go. Let's go to the handy dandy spreadsheet. And let's put in our numbers. These are X's. 71, 75, 80, 82, and 85. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to put mean, median, mode, range, mid-range, and variance, and standard deviation. Now, of course, the mean, you're going to add everything up and divide by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to add everything up. Let me get a sum down here. Need y'all to add those up on your calculator and see if you get 393. See if you get 393. Make sure you get that mask on, Miss Gray. Make sure it's pinched around your nose real good. See, if I showed up and sounded like I'm sounding and coughing, everybody'd run out of the room. So. All right, so the mean is equal to 393 divided by 5. I got 78.6. What'd y'all get? Thumbs up, thumbs down. See, y'all know how to find this stuff.
Yes.
Some of y'all even invented it. All right, median. Well, the median is very simple because n is odd. N is equal to 5. So since n is equal to 5, you just have to find the what? Middle number. Well, at least I can't complain. I'm not coughing up a lung. I don't sound like I'm in the Marlboro Club.
Bless you.
Yeah, it's real good. Mode. Does anything show up more than once? No. So you put non-applicable. What do you not put for mode when there's nothing there?
0.
You do not put 0 because you'll always have some smart-ass teacher mark it wrong and say 0 is not even in the list. Don't do that. Make sure you put non-applicable or put there ain't none. And you spell nairn however you want to. Range is equal to the highest minus the lowest. I got 14. Mid-range is equal to the highest plus the lowest, or the lowest plus the highest. It doesn't matter because addition is commutative. Divided by 2. And there is 5 test questions right there that everybody in this room should be able to get. If you can't get them, then we'll just consider yourself what? Just consider yourself a failure. No, we don't want to use that word. Okay, failure. Now, what about the variance? Well, you read the formula. What do we need for the variance? Somebody tell me what we need for the variance. We need to take what away from what? What is X bar?
The mean.
The mean. I got to take the mean away from each one of our X's. And then add that number, square it and add that number up. Because please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, we got to do what's in parentheses first. Then we got to do an exponent. And then we do adding up. Question. Miss Mita's looking like retribution on wrestling. She's got that black mask and black hat on. I'll shut up. Nobody's going to talk in here. This is the Tide Pod generation. Just just teach you, but they're not going to talk. All right, so here I'm going to do x minus x bar. I'm going to take 71 minus 78.6, function F4, and enter. And I'm going to copy that down. And the next one is going to be parentheses x minus x bar, close parentheses, raised to the second power. Again, you got to read your formula. I'm going to give everybody a second or two to catch up. So this is how you do it by hand. Even though I'm doing it on technology, you're doing it by hand. Okay? So what I do with x minus x bar quantity squared, I add them what? Add them up, Hubert. That's right, class. Thank you. And that is the numerator for my 125.2. 125.2 divided by n minus 1. 5 minus 1 is 4. So go back. So my variance is equal to 125.2 divided by 4. Check y'all's variance, see if you got 31.3. All right, and then take the square root of that and raise that to the 0.5 power. And there is your standard deviation. Can anybody tell me what a layman's term for standard deviation is? Just a layman's definition. Anybody want to take a stab at it? Fred, how far something is stretched out? Okay, and not the gambling spread. No, the spread of the distribution. The spread of the distribution. Is your distribution wide or is your distribution narrow? Narrow, good. Wide, bad. Okay? And we'll stop right there. We'll stop at the spread. All right, let me shut down everything before y'all go into cardiac infarction. Let me shut down the share and shut down the recording.